Dana will keep you updated too. By the way, I'm going to do this right before I get 500 on here. I got to grab something here. I got to show 500 here what I think about Howie and what he did to the number one overall defense. I'm going to light my blowtorch. Here we go. And then today, the freaking greatness of Ben Van Sumeren brought back to be in the mix, to be maybe the next Oren Burks. Without further ado, the legend himself, our friend, Philly.500 joins us now. How you
what
doing,
is happening?
baby? Wait a minute.
What's going down in Chinatown? What's happening?
How you doing, champ?
Champ is doing all right. Champ is hanging in there. You know, can't complain. Only a little bit, I guess. But I think the sky is not falling like you say. It is not that bad. A matter of fact, everything has gone according to plan except for one thing. There's one big problem I have with what has happened, and that's the CJ Gardner-Johnson trade. I don't understand it. Don't get it. I think that was one too many moves. But everything else, you know, I didn't expect Josh Sweat back. I didn't expect Milton Williams back, and I knew these guys weren't coming back, so nothing's a surprise to me. But that CJ Gardner-Johnson move, to me, that's one too many.
You agree though that 5? By the way, let that cat roll up there if he wants to jump up there, man. Because I got to show my dog too, because my puppy barks like a crazy.
No, she thinks I'm talking to her. She thinks I'm talking to her because she sees me set up here.
I love that.
Yeah, you're good.
Hey, by the way, 5 starters gone though, counting if you put BG in that conversation. I mean, that's not the number one defense coming back. 500.
Well, I mean, we knew this was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with certain things. Like, I think the emergence of Nolan Smith. I think the emergence of Jalix Hunt. I think these guys showed that they could play, and this was naturally going to happen. You know, I thought Zach Bond coming back was the most important thing. As far as the cornerback spot, yeah, you could have brought Isaiah Rodgers back. That would have been fine if you wanted him to compete with Ringo. But the CJ one was the one that was, you know, I don't understand that one. There has to be more than what we've heard, that it's just about cash. There's no way I believe that.
How about, I heard that, according to some folks in the building there, that Christian Parker and him constantly would have to go back and forth. He was always chirping, and Howie went to him and asked him, hey, man, could we live without this? And supposedly Vic said, look, out of the scheme at times, he blows up the scheme. He's not in position at times. And for $8 million plus the chirping, I mean, I don't think that's a reason to move off a guy, because let's take a look at this. 3 years in a row, he's played in the NFC title game. He's been to the Super Bowl 2 of those 3 years. He's won 1, and he had 12 picks in the 2 years he was an Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not getting that either, because and he's 27. We're not talking about a young guy here. I mean, of all those moves that they made, do you think he's going to be felt the most? Is it Milton? Is it Josh?
No, I mean, I think you could replace CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's not that you can't replace him. It's just that you created an extra spot, an extra hole where I don't think you need it. You know, like if you want to get rid of him because of money, they could have waited a year, right? I mean, and done it. So, I mean, you could replace him and you could fix it. As far as who is going to be irreplaceable, I don't know. I mean, I feel like these young guys need to play, and they can play. I thought Ojomo played really good at the end of the year. I think he's got to develop just like Milton Williams did. I think we're in uncharted territory because the Eagles have had a stretch where they've had three good years of draft picks, and now you have all these contract extensions coming at the same time, and they're trying to put themselves in a position to get it. So I totally understand it, but you know, I don't know what's up with the CJ thing, and then the Dallas Goedert thing. That's another one. It's like, do we really need to trade Dallas Goedert right now? So, you know, to me, there was no surprises at all until the CJ thing. That's thrown me off. But other than that, do I think that if you look at this division, do I think the Dallas Cowboys have improved enough to compete with us? No.
No.
Do I think Washington has overtaken us? No. They might have slowly closed the gap, but I don't think they've overtaken us. And I think that guys like Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt are going to be good next year. So I think we'll be fine in the long run. But you've now created an issue where CJ Gardner-Johnson's got to replace. And I'm telling you right now, I want them to go out and get a safety in the first round. Like, go get the best safety and play them, right? What did we have success doing? We had success with young guys coming in and playing. Go get a rookie safety, play them, and let them learn. And then you can free up what you want to do with Reed Blankenship and stuff like that. Nothing is – the sky isn't falling like people want to claim, But I do think there's more to the CJ Gardner-Johnson thing than just money.
I said this earlier. Tell me if you agree or disagree on it. I think Howie's running it back. And I'd say they're running it back on philosophy, not the players' names on the back of the jersey. They believe they can find another guy to go out there and replace a linebacker like Goran Burks. They believe that they can find in a trade somebody that can replace Darius Slay. They believe that they can find an edge rusher to go out there and have a role like a Hassan Reddick. They believe they can find the depth like they did with Linval Joseph and Adama Sue. It's more about philosophy, don't you agree? And also it's discipline in how they spend money and how they delegate money. That's why in the last 8 years, that's why they've been successful. But here's the one thing that somebody posted here, and I agree. The only downside to that is that I don't think you can build a dynasty of being a Super Bowl team every year when you're constantly having this right here. Look, Bryce Huff, Hassan Reddick, the swings are so big. You're either hit or miss on some of these. Like, look, Devin White, Zach Bond. These swings in the pendulum are just a little wide. Now, you may win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years. That's worth it, in my opinion, on how you're constructing and doing your business. Do you agree with that's kind of what they're doing?
Yeah, kind of. But I'll say this. If you continue to have good drafts, you won't need that pendulum to be swinging, right? The fact that they've drafted so well in the last 3-4 years, I think you're going to see less of that. You're not going to have to go make those big free agent signings as much because you're drafting so well. So as long as they continue to draft well, I think they'll be fine. I don't see any reason why I don't look at Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and say, well, he can't take another step in his progression next year and be what Oren Burks is. I mean, you've had so much success with playing your young guys, developing them. Why stop now? Keep it going. I have no problem with that at all.
To your point, you think Jordan Davis has been a good or bad draft pick?
I think Jordan Davis has been an okay draft pick, but I think Jordan Davis turned the corner in the playoffs. I think that NFC Championship game where he goes out and gets a sack. You look at his face on the sideline. He's headbutting guys without a helmet. All right, he was so pumped, but he looked like something clicked, like the monkey was off his back. And then he goes out in the Super Bowl and he has another great game. I think Jordan Davis, his best years are in front of him, man.
Pittsburgh Steelers, 1 year, $10 million for Darius Slay at 34. 1 year, $34 million.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money for a 35-year-old. Wow.
You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of the 30-year-old 1-year deals. And every year it's like a rotation at a certain position because we're just trying to plug in a guy for 1 year. I like the young guys that come out and play, and they play on the rookie deal. So I appreciate what Darius Slay did, but I don't want him back for that much money.
Wow. All right, I'm going to go down the list here with you. First pick, number 32. What are you doing there? Are you trading out, up?
Oh, trading up.
As of right now, where are you going with that pick?
I'm either going 2 positions. I'm going edge rusher or safety. If I could choose position-wise, I'd go safety. Like I said, I would like to get a guy that could come in and just and play and start and just be that rookie under that rookie contract. If we're going to play these games with the safety position, that's another position where it's always rotational, right? You have CJ Gardner-Johnson, then you're trying to trade for Kevin Byard, then you're bringing CJ Gardner-Johnson. Now you're moving him again. Like, I'm sick of that. Let's go get a guy that can be in there and be in there for long term. So I'm going to say either safety or edge. And I'm trading up. I'm not sitting and I'm not trading back. I'm trading up. I got a ton of picks. I got a ton of picks over the next 2 years.
Yes, you got 11 in the top. You got 11 in the top 4 rounds in the next 2 years here. One thing on Slay before I move on here. The one thing with Slay, and the reason why I think that's a good fit is because they play that Tampa 2 defense. It's a pseudo version of the 2-eye safety. He's not a man cover corner in that defense. So he probably fits in better. That's why it was probably a good fit for them. I think the money's awful high, but then again, the cap. You know, Pittsburgh doesn't really like to spend a ton of money. They've got money to spend. And $10 million, they probably structured it. And remember something, too. That's an agent throwing that out. So we got to remember what we're going to see, what the real actual money is when it comes to the base salary.
And think about this. You got what? They're probably going to sign Rodgers, right? At some point,
yes,
it looks like they're going to get Aaron Rodgers, Pickens, and DK Metcalf, and then you're going to have all that chaos there, and you're going to have Darius Slay on his podcast telling us all the business of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you know, my thing with Slay is this: Slay wants to play one more year and retire. He wants to play one more year and retire. He said. So, okay, you got your ring. Now you're going to go do your farewell tour, play one more year, and then sayonara. Well, how hungry is he going to be for another championship? How important is that one more championship going to be to him? Or is he just going to try to enjoy his last year? So I think it's a good guy to turn over, to be honest.
I want to give you a chance to respond to this. And I'm not the messenger. Well, I am kind of, but I don't believe it. So reports are out of New England that the Patriots, and I do know this because I've talked to Alonzo Highsmith, who's in the front office with Elliott Wolf. They've contacted Howie Roseman numerous times. I heard 3. Some are saying even more times about the availability of A.J. Brown going up there with Drake May. Now, supposedly, there's rumors of the 4th pick, Gonzalez, other picks. The Boston media is trying to will this thing. Now, if you're hearing more, and by the way, I can't remember. I think it was Adam Schefter was on, either Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport was on Philly radio saying more cost cuttings coming from the Eagles. Is that where you go? You go to AJ because AJ is the guy he's not finishing his career in Philly. That guy is not finishing his career in Philadelphia.
Why? Why is he?
Because they just are not going to keep that salary, and he's not going. There's not a chance he'll retire in Philadelphia.
Well, whether he retires in Philly or not, he's signed for the next few years, and he's in the prime of his career. He's one of the best wide receivers. First of all, I can't see a team going out and spending the 4th overall pick on a wide receiver that is
you don't
making
think he's
that kind of
worth
salary.
that? I do.
I do. I don't think teams. I think teams tend to overvalue draft picks. They don't give 4th overall picks for players. When's the last time we've seen a top 5 pick go for a player? It doesn't happen. They're not going to give the 4th overall pick for a wide receiver.
I've never seen a $281 million salary cap either.
No, I haven't either. But I would be absolutely shocked if they did that.
I think that's hyperbole conversation. I mean, look, do you think there's anybody in the draft that helps? This is what I would be thinking if I was Mike Vrabel and I was Elliott Wolf. Is there really anybody in the draft that's going to help Drake May in the next 3 years in this draft?
Well, Sills, it doesn't make sense. If you need a receiver so bad, you could have gotten DK Metcalf. Well, why not
Or
trade
you
for
could have
King?
signed Devontae Adams, who got cut
Yeah,
by
I mean,
by
but
the
now
Rams.
you're they're just pinpointing. See, they like AJ Brown because AJ Brown was a Patriot fan growing up, and he was with Vrabel. So they assume that he's going to be traded. I think the Eagles, if they did that, then you can kiss a repeat goodbye. You're gonna how are you gonna replace him? That hurts your offense. No, I don't think that's remotely likely. I think that's all just talk.
I agree with you. I think that is a lot to do with people wanting to wanting. I think they want the player, but I think their eyes are a little bit bigger than what
Well, and
reality.
it's not like he has a contract coming up, or he's in a contract spat, or you don't know what they're going to do, because he's going to be a free agent in a year. He just signed an extension. So to me, I don't see how it's even possible. And I mean, but for the 4th overall pick, that's a lot. I'm not going to say it's not a lot, but
How about this? You
I
do
have a
this.
hard time believing it.
Let's spitball it here for a second. Say you do trade him up to get that 4th pick, and you get Abdul Carter in that. Now you got Abdul Carter, Nolan Smith on rookie contracts. Every guy in the front 4 is under a rookie contract. You save money that way. Instead of having to give and trade for an asset like Myles Garrett, which you were talking earlier, we all were. You get a rookie deal on that, and you got that guy for 5 years. That's under the assumption you think he's the next Michael Parsons.
Well, hopefully he's better.
Yeah. Hopefully he likes to play to run.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's what I did at number 2, the 64th pick. I'm going tight end here. I mean, they've shown you in the past that they're willing to use a 2 on Zach Ertz and also on Dallas Goedert, that they're willing to go that high. I don't think they'd go 32 unless you're going to trade up and get that kid from Penn State and try to get up there and get him. But I got a tight end at the 2nd pick in the draft at 64. Where are you going?
Nah, I like it. To me, it would be either tight end or probably defensive line. Or safety. It's to me, those are your 3 positions. You in the first 3 picks, you've got to hit, in my opinion, edge rusher, safety, and a tight end. So I think those need to be your first 3 picks. However it goes, best player available at but those 3 positions.
Is there a position on the team you have concern over?
Safety.
Safety's your biggest concern. Why?
Safety and cornerback are my 2 biggest concerns because you don't have any. If you look at the defensive line, like Sweat and Milton, at least I say I have guys who are young who have showed that they could play. Who has shown that they could play at safety right now?
No one.
Sidney Brown. So I don't trust Sidney Brown. So and I'm not saying that as a slight on him. I have to see more from him. So I don't know what we have at safety. I don't think we have anything, at least on the defensive line. I said, well, look at Jalen Hunt, how he played down the stretch. Look at the way Nolan Smith played. Look at Ojomo. They played well. Nobody behind CJ Gardner-Johnson. And then the other one is corner. I have no idea what to think of Ringo. I'm okay giving him an opportunity. I'm not neither high on him or against him. Like, I'm kind of like wait and see. But you don't really have anybody there, too. I guess you could kick Cooper DeJean outside, but that creates a whole other thing. Safety would be my number 1 concern right now on this team.
Do you agree on the Eagles, the most replaceable position on the team is right guard?
Yeah.
Isaac Seumalo, you put Cam Jurgens over there, you got Mekhi Becton, and to me, now here would be my problem, though, with Tyler Steen. Do you not agree with me on this? If that kid Kenyon Green walks in and beats him out, Tyler Steen is a bust as a 3rd-round pick because he couldn't win the job last year when it came to beating out Mekhi Becton. You drafted him to be a starter. Top 3 rounds, you're looking for a starter out of that. If he can't beat that stiff out, who's graded one of the worst guards, I mean, you got a problem there, and he turns out to be Andre Dillard, in my opinion.
Maybe. I like Steen that he could play multiple positions. I kind of like him in a backup. I think the guy you got to watch
Also
is
for
that
a
Keegan.
swing, like a swing guard.
I like him in that spot. Let him stay there. I like Trevor Keegan. Let's give that kid a chance. They were really high on him out of that draft. Let's see what he can do and how he can develop. The one guy I don't worry about is Stoutland. Not to mention, they're going to pick up offensive linemen somewhere in this draft. So I'm not worried about the offensive line.
Do you re-sign Becton? Do you want him back? Do you think he's a priority? Because Chicago reportedly is offering him north of $11 million annually.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I wonder if you leave Philly, will you be the same? I really wonder that. I wouldn't mind Becton back. Of course, I would like to get him back if we could, but I'm not gonna sweat it if we don't. I think we got guys that can fill in, but I would like him back.
Here's the thing here. Again, they're counting. Would you agree? There's definitely more pressure on Vic Fangio this time around to try to go out and duplicate what he did a year ago. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess so. People saw it once, want to see it again. Yeah, I could see that. But I sure like the way they develop the young guys, man. I think that they're doing a good job with that. I think they just need to continue to do that. Get depth pieces.
Isn't that a 1 year thing, Philly? They didn't.
What's that?
What happened in 23? How come they didn't develop in 23?
Well, I think you didn't have the coaching staff to develop some of these guys.
Okay.
First of all, and
Fair.
I think that the addition of 3 guys. I think you had an addition of 3. We'll say 4 guys. Zach Bond, DeJean, Quignon. Okay, those 3 guys. You could even say Gardner-Johnson and Jalix Hunt. I mean, those were guys that weren't on that team. That you added.
I got one last one here for you. Are you concerned about the history of injury to Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean? Both guys may not be available for the start of the season. They're definitely not going to be ready for OTAs. And Nakobe will not be ready even for training camp. Are you concerned about the fact that you may have to do more work there at edge and linebacker? Because, again, Nakobe Dean has not played 1 year in Philly where he's not ended on IR. And Nolan Smith has only played really 7 really good games because he took over for BG after Brandon Graham got hurt. And then at the end of the year, he had to go under the knife.
I would say not. I'm okay with Nolan Smith. Like I feel okay with him. I do worry about Nakobe Dean though, because it's multiple years. There's been issues. So I think Dean is a concern health-wise for me. And as far as like adding, they need to add 2 edge rushers in my opinion. Anyways, I think they need to find a veteran that can come in and rotate in, and then I think they need to draft a guy. So they need to do that anyways. But Nakobe Dean's injury history does worry me. He's been hurt every year with us.
Okay, finally here. Do you believe that Dallas Goedert is on the football team by the end of the day?
End of the day? End of the day, yes. End of the draft, no.
Do you think he starts the season in Philly in September?
It doesn't sound like it. No, it doesn't sound like, from everything we're hearing, it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. So my hope is that they restructure his deal and that, somehow keep him in Philly one more year. I think it's a mistake to let him go. I don't think you have anybody to take over. That's the same issue I have with the CJ thing. You don't have anybody behind those guys. At least Sweat and Milton, you have some guys, but who do you have? Nobody. So it doesn't sound good for Goddard being here.
I want to throw some love out to Mark Holmes. He was going to come on, but obviously he lost his father-in-law, so we give him a lot of love there for that, and I sent him. We sent a message to him, and he was telling me about. Then he started talking to me a little bit about the Eagles, and I was like this. I go, Hoss, I don't want to get into anything with the Cowboys, but DeMarcus Lawrence is now going to Seattle. I feel your pain. I go, we pray for you. I'm sorry you got to go back to covering that shitty team.
To me, there's a team that, I mean, they've made a few signings, but to me, they haven't done anything that changes anything. They got a cheap running back, doesn't scare me. They didn't do anything with a wide receiver, so that doesn't scare me. I think both them and Washington, how they were not in on the DK Metcalf, I don't understand. I thought that would have been a huge gain. They just traded for a corner who was a former first-round talent that hasn't been great. So, maybe they could turn him around. I don't know. But Dallas to me hasn't improved really that much at all.
Would it shock you if Washington signed Cooper Kupp?
It wouldn't shock me. But, he's another guy. It's like, great, but can he stay healthy? That's the thing with him.
Any of the team that, for me, is the Rams. I think the Rams got better.
I think the Rams are, to me, I think are the biggest threat to the Eagles right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Rams and Lions would be the two threats.
Would you not agree that both Les Snead and Kevin Demoff kind of do exactly what they're probably as close to the Eagles on how they handle their cap and how they handle players and player development to Philadelphia? And here's why. They pushed all their chips in and used their credit card to win that Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They took one down season, and now they're bouncing back. And they're starting – look at the draft picks they landed on last year. Dude, you can say all you want about the Eagles rookies. They got Cameron Kitchens. They got that kid Verse. They got that kid Fisk. All those guys turned out to be top-flight starters, man. I mean, they're doing a good job. They got that kid Kobe whatever, right, from a year ago. Kobe Turner, that defensive tackle, now down in there too. So they're hitting on their draft picks.
They are. Now that they have them again, because they had like a 2-year stretch where they had none. So, and they got Devontae Adams. I think that they've gotten better. Do I think they could overtake the Eagles? I don't, but I think they're as close as anybody. I think them, Detroit, I think there's questions with Detroit. They got a lot of new coaches, so we'll have to see with them. But I think the top 3 teams in the conference are the Eagles, the Rams, and the Lions. That's how I would go.
On the way out the door here, wouldn't you say, I think the Eagles, with what they did with the minusing of the players on their team, I think they closed the gap. But the question is, the gap size is still significant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they did move the yardsticks to get closer to them because of the losses.
They did. And we got to wait. I mean, we still got the draft. We still have to see what the Eagles really look like. They're cleaning house and getting their house in order right now before they start making additions. So we have to kind of wait to see who they're going to bring in, what they're going to do draft-wise. I expect the Eagles to be really aggressive in the draft. I mean, they're usually either aggressive in the draft or in free agency. So they're quiet right now, but I expect them to make moves at some point, hopefully. But,
so
I don't like to see Gardner-Johnson.
You're not expecting an AJ to the Patriots today.
Oh, God, no. No, see, I would lose my mind over that. I would lose my mind because I think he's too important to your offense to let him go. It's not like there's a wide receiver you could bring in, or it's not like we have a young wide receiver who is dying to have the opportunity to start. We don't have anybody. Who do we have after him? And I don't believe a team's given the 4th overall pick. I don't believe it.
I got to sneak one more on you. You like Chicago? What they're doing?
Well, I like what they're doing, but it seems like they do it every year. They do a lot, and nothing mounts out of anything. But we'll see what they do. I'm not worried.
I think Mrs. Caleb Williams with the pink fingernails. I don't know. I'm not buying the kid, man. I mean,
yeah. I think he's got talent, but we'll see what he does. Chicago, to me, it seems like Chicago's aggressive in free agency every year, and nothing ever comes of it. Yeah. I mean, it really does. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't think Mrs. Williams is I don't think he's the answer up there. Can you imagine you moved off of Justin Fields? You just got a $30 million deal to quarterback the
Yeah.
Jets. And now you're looking at Caleb Williams, and you got to figure out if he's the guy. You went out and got him all the receivers. You got him an O-line now.
Yeah.
And if that guy ain't the guy, you're going to purgatory if you're a quarterback, if you're in Chicago. Philly, tell the folks how they can find you. This is a great
just type in
year.
Philly.500. Yeah, type in Philly.500 and I'll come right up. It's the
You
best
got
way
it,
to
brother.
find me.
Thanks a lot so much
Thanks,
for coming
my man.
aboard. You got
Appreciate
it.
it.
That is our friend Philly.500. Yeah, I'm not sold on Mrs. Caleb Williams. I'm not sure yet. I got to see that kid play. They're bringing talent in for him, to say the least, man. Absolutely awesome stuff. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. We are into the NFL new season, and I've yet to see anything significant except the greatness of Vance Sumarin. It's Vance Sumarin season. Holy cow. The signing of Vance Sumarin. That's the Eagles' big move. You doing? Zach Bond. Love it. 2 dudes. No external free agents. Unbelievable. All right. Don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Absolutely awesome, folks, that they are part of this program. They are the #1 injury law firm in the United States. They got a resume of over $20 billion. You see some firms have $2 billion or $1 billion, $20 billion in recovery for families across the country with thousands of attorneys that end up helping families. Like here in Pennsylvania, a family with $650K was offered when it came to a settlement. No way. Morgan & Morgan got that family nearly $30 million in recovery. How about the family I talked about in Central Florida there? They were initially offered $350K, came back Morgan & Morgan, got that family nearly $12.5 million for a settlement. That's what Morgan & Morgan does. If you're ever injured, please check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. Listen, the fee is free unless they win. All you have to do is go see my friends at forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That is forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got in.